Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for December 1st, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. Not a victory Monday, so let's get right into it. And as we do every Monday, let's rewind the weekend, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. Start getting your holiday shopping done now. They got you covered. Whatever you need, Philly sports apparel related. So go check them out. And let's start with the Eagles game. Had a few days at this point to sort of sit on things, and then some thoughts on where this team stands. Not a good win, or a good loss at all, 24-15. And I think there's plenty of blame to go around. I think you can put a lot of blame on the offense. I think the defense as well, but a lot of their struggles, I think, kind of go back to the offense as well. But Jalen was not good. Jalen did not play well in this game. He was indecisive. He turned the ball over, which he never does. And I don't know. I don't know. He's been hesitant to run, and I know that was a lot of the story and the reports coming out over the weekend that he doesn't like the design quarterback runs. But he's got to get over that. And I don't know if it's a combination of that and the offensive Kevin Patullo not calling it, whether Jalen's not seeing things. But offensively, this team is broken. And if you listen to the Brotherly Birds breakdown last week, Kyle floated this idea about Kevin Patullo going back up into the box and getting a better view of the field, sort of the way Vic Fangio does. And Nick Foles floated the idea again over the weekend, saying that that's kind of what Kevin Patullo was used to when he was the passing game coordinator, or whatever his position was, where he's up in the box, you're able to see. And from experience, I know sitting in my seats, which are higher, you're able to see things that you wouldn't be able to see on TV or at a closer level, specifically on the field. So I don't know. Sirianni said he's not changing the play calling. I don't think you can bring someone from the outside at this point in the season anyway. But I don't think it's a bad idea at this point. And I think anything needs to be on the table. And then defensively, they couldn't stop the Bears. And part of that was the offense, when they were on the field, weren't able to sustain the drives as much as they would. They moved the ball better, I think, but just overall, just bad on both sides of the ball. No idea why Jahad Campbell did not play at all in that game, but couldn't stop the run game, couldn't stop the tight end game over the middle. Offense didn't do anything to help. Just a brutal game. And it did seem as though the team came out flat. And this is now the second time in a row. So this is purely speculation here, but I don't know if there might be some issues in the locker room with the team not buying into Sirianni's message, whether there's some complacency, because that team did kind of have more of, similar to the Dallas game, an arrogant vibe to them. Like they were just going to come out and the Bears should have just bowed down to them. But they have sort of a mini bye now. They don't play till Monday night against the Chargers, who might be without Justin Herbert. So we'll see if they can figure it out. And if you go around the NFC, Rams lose to the Panthers. Lions pretty much got dominated by the Packers. All of a sudden, the Cowboys look formidable. And to the people who are in my social media messages saying you're not mentioning the Seahawks, I'm not mentioning the Seahawks because the Seahawks really haven't played and beaten anybody. The better teams that they've played, they've lost to. So going against the Vikings' third-string quarterback is not going to impress me that much. Sam Darnold is still unproven. I'm not in on him. I will say I wasn't in on Caleb Williams before the Bears game. He proved me wrong, so I'll take that. But the NFC is wide open, absolutely wide open. And if it's going to come down to whoever gets hot, whether the Eagles can be that team or not, I don't know. There's certainly 2023 vibes all over this. So we'll see how they respond. I mean, they've been through that. Maybe they can come together, have a come to Jesus moment, but it's gut check time, and there has to be. We've been saying it now. You got to look in the mirror and decide how you want to be remembered. And at this point, it's got to be a pride thing. Like you look terrible. You're the laughing stock of the NFL. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson on somebody's post-game show or whatever, basically like winking, saying the offense is easily predictable. And that falls on the head coach and the offensive coordinator. Of course, Jalen did not play his best game at all. Didn't look comfortable out there at all either. So you got to decide, are you going to turn this into 2023 all over again? Or are you going to do something to pull out of it? After 12 games, I got to be honest, I don't believe that this team can put it together. I really don't. I mean, we've seen what they are. As Denny Green said, they are who we thought they were. And they're the same team that looked sort of out of sync in week 1, week 2. Take your pick. Inconsistent. Are they capable of putting up 30 points in a game? Maybe. In the right conditions. But do I believe that they're going to go on a run here in the last 5 games? Not at all. Not at all. And for everybody out there, there were some people questioning the boos that the fans had. They deserve to be booed in that game. And the fans are frustrated. I'm frustrated. This team should be frustrated. Like, this team should be coming out and saying, yes, we should be booed. I would boo me too. Say what you want about Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper would be right out front saying, yes, I should be booed. So there's that. I guess they get back to work tomorrow. I guess they'll start getting back to work for the Chargers. But I don't believe that they can do it. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see. And as far as go to the game, nobody really was deserving. I guess you can go AJ because he put up his numbers. But I don't know. Coaching, no. Defense, no. Anybody else on offense, no. Why are you not running more with Saquon? Because Saquon actually was having some success. You're having Jalen drop back and throw 34 times or whatever it was. Well, he attempted 34. Just not a good, like, this team doesn't know who they are. And this came up too. I don't think there's anybody that's a likable. I think that's part of the reason too why the fans are. Last year it was Saquon. It was the story. It was just they were rolling late in games and putting teams away. They're not doing that this year, and there's not really likable players on this team. So I think that also makes it hard for the fans to believe. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't have confidence. I don't have belief that they're going to turn it around, though. I hope I'm wrong. But hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. Get your thoughts in on the Eagles as we have now another week before the next game. And they could be playing a banged-up Chargers team, so who knows? I know a lot of Eagle trips are going out there, so it should be a semi-home game for the Birds. So we'll see if they can turn it around. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have faith that they're going to do it. At this point, I don't think it hurts to put Kevin Patullo in the box. I mean, you put Vic's up there. Vic sees it. Vic's able to make adjustments most of the time. Team didn't make any adjustments. He's not seeing the field clearly, so put him up in the box and see if it helps. But let me know your thoughts on this. And also, bring in Nick Foles as an offensive consultant. At least he kind of knows. I don't think he's going to try to change the dynamics or anything. But, I mean, that's sound advice. Sound advice from an Eagle legend. So, Eagles-Chargers this week. We'll have a lot to talk about as we get closer to game time. Of course, the Brotherly Birds breakdown will be out on Thursday, so stay tuned for that as well, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Flyers, though, had a good weekend. Won Friday up in Long Island against the Islanders 4-3 in a shootout. Trevor Zegras, Sean Couturier, and Tyson Foerster all scored. Samuel Ersson was in goal, and it was a fun game. A little bit of a fun game to watch. Caught some of the end of it. And then yesterday, 5-3 over the Devils. Owen Tippett, Matvei Mishkov, 2 goals each. Trevor Zegras added another goal. What an acquisition for Danny Briere. We'll take it. Vladar was in goal, and he played solid. And I'm sorry, that game was Saturday, not yesterday. I'm reading my notes wrong. I did this yesterday. So win on Friday, win on Saturday for the Flyers. They're back home tonight at the X versus the Penguins, welcoming good old Sidney Crosby to town. Sixers had a split weekend. Beat the Nets on Friday. Tyrese Maxey had 22. Jarrett McCain finally broke out and had a game, had 20. And then yesterday, what a game yesterday was. And this is why, yes, we should be looking and concerned with wins and losses because the Sixers are kind of in that playoff picture right now. But this team is fun. That was a fun game to watch all throughout, back and forth. The Hawks went on a little bit of run late, and the Sixers posted an amazing comeback. Tyrese Maxey hit a huge 3 to tie it, to send it to overtime. Had a chance to ice it. All he had to do was make one of two to at least force the Hawks to hit a 3-pointer. He missed both of them. Very uncharacteristic of Tyrese. Went into double overtime. Sixers lose 142-134. But what a fun game. They had their full complement of players. Joe played, Paul George played. And I know it looked disjointed at times. But again, it's the first time they had the full team ready to play. So I think if they can continue to do that, depending on Joe's knee and Paul's whatever, should get better. But Tyrese had 44, Quentin Grimes had 28. But again, fun. They are fun. I'm not saying they're going to go win the championship. I'm just saying it's fun. It's fun to watch. The kids were into this game yesterday too. We extended bedtime a little bit just so they could watch the end of it. But what a fun game. Sixers, though, do split both games over the weekend. Villanova is moving on after a 52-7 win over Harvard out on the main line. They will play up in Lehigh on Saturday at noon in the second round of the FCS playoffs. The Temple season is over. 52-25, they lose to North Texas. Ended the season with no bowl game at 5-7 after such a promising start. But I look forward to seeing what KC Keeler has in store for year 2. And then a big game in the Big 5 tonight. Temple and Nova take on each other out on the main line, and the winner will win the pod. I don't know what they call the pods, but win their pod in the Big 5 Classic and play Penn for the championship of the Big 5. So big game for them both tonight. And what happened this weekend in Philly sports history? Well, on November 29th, Saturday, Dick Allen in 1964 wins Rookie of the Year. He hit .328, 29 homers, 91 RBI, led the league in runs, triples, and total bases, and received 18 of the 20 first-place votes. And then in 1998, Flyers beat the Canucks 6-2. John LeClair scored 4 goals, 3 of them in the third period, with the Flyers down 2-1 to lead the Flyers on the comeback. And then on Sunday, November 30th, back in 1901, the Army-Navy game took place at Franklin Field. Army beat Navy 11-5. But President Teddy Roosevelt was in attendance. He was the first sitting president to attend the Army-Navy game, starting that tradition. And he did switch sides as commander-in-chief at halftime. So he sat on both sides. But Army-Navy, first time a sitting president attended the game, and that was at Franklin Field in 1901. And then in 1997, the Eagles kept their playoff hopes alive with a 44-42 win over the Cincinnati Bengals. It was the Bobby Hoying breakout game. Threw for 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, added 64 rushing yards. Ricky Waters went for 98 yards and a touchdown. Irving Fryer, 122 yards. And we started to think, did we find our quarterback to take us into the future? Newsflash, spoiler alert, he wasn't the guy. But for this day and the end, kind of the way this season ended, we thought, okay, we found our guy. But that is Rewind the Weekend, brought to you as always by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. Pretty good weekend, minus the whole Eagles fiasco. So I guess you can't win them all. Let's do some quick housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on social media at Philly Jimbo. YouTube channel is Jimbo_Mott, and continue to spread the word. All those subscriptions, comments, reviews, all of that. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, even if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever, go please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because all of that helps outsmart the algorithm. And we are in the middle of the 3rd annual gift and food drive benefiting the Maddie and Dixon Community Cupboard. So go to any of my social media. You'll see the flyer. Scan the QR code. Donate and give whatever you can. Every little bit helps. We got donations coming in from all over. Got some Philly guys down in Virginia who just donated last week. So thank you for that. But still about 12 days or so left in this food and gift drive. So every little bit helps. And today is one of my favorite days of the year. I'm excited to kick this off. This is where you can get your kids and everything involved. And while I would love for you to donate to the Maddie Ann Dixon Community Cupboard, I think it's important to know wherever you are, do this with your kids and donate. But it's a reverse advent calendar, and the rules are simple. Each day I'll give you some items. Usually I do 14, but since I don't do the weekends anymore, there's going to be a couple days where there's double items. If you want to kind of save some of this for the weekend, that's fine. And if you want the actual list of all 14 items, hit me up and I can send that to you. But each day I'll give you some items, have your kids bring them up, put them in a bag or a box or whatever. And then at the end of the 12 days, go donate, whether it's to Maddie Ann Dixon. And if you do go to Maddie Ann Dixon, let them know that it is a part of our gift and food drive, or whatever food drive is, or food cupboard is near your house. But a lot of fun. And today, starting off simple, hot chocolate and juice boxes are today's reverse advent calendar items. This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. All right, I should have mentioned this before the break, but these are the exact items that they're looking for at the Maddie Ann Dixon Community Cupboard. Obviously, if you don't want to participate in this, you can go right to the QR code and donate. But like I said, very excited. The reverse advent calendar, my kids were super excited. They're like, did you put the tickets in the my wife has this big wooden advent calendar where it's like a gingerbread house and the doors pull out for each number. I'm like, yep, I got you. So they will be bringing up some hot chocolate and juice boxes today. All right, December 1st. Let's go back to 1967, and Wilt was doing Wilt things on this day. They were make sure you pay attention to this. They were playing in Boston against the Seattle Supersonics, who were the home team in this game. They were an expansion team, and they played a few random home games in various other arenas around the country outside of Seattle. Not sure why. Didn't really get too deep into that, but Sixers did beat the Seattle Supersonics 133-109 at the Boston Garden. Wilt scored 52 points and grabbed 37 rebounds in the Sixers win. against the Supersonics. So I guess you could say it was a good day. And let's get fast forward then to 1974. Flyers tied a team record with the largest shutout victory in team history. They beat the Kansas City Scouts 10-0 at the Spectrum. 8 players scored for the Flyers, 2 each by Bill Barber and Ross Lonsberry. Bobby Clark also tied a Flyers record with 4 assists in the game. Bernie Parent saved 22, and it was the second win in the middle of a 12-game unbeaten streak for the Flyers en route to their second Stanley Cup. And for those of you who like to keep score on these things at home, the Kansas City Scouts, you may know them today as the New Jersey Devils. After a brief stint in Denver, the Scouts moved to New Jersey to become the Devils. And while in Denver, they were the Colorado Rockies. See how it all kind of ties together? The Kansas City Scouts are the New Jersey Devils today. Then go to 2002, and the Eagles defense shut down the greatest show on turf, holding Kurt Warner and all those guys to 250 total yards, forced 5 turnovers, including the game's only touchdown, a pick 6 by Bobby Taylor. I remember this game well. The Eagles sacked Kurt Warner 8 times that day, winning it 10-3. But the defense did need to play well down that stretch because they lost Donovan with the broken ankle. They lost Coy Detmer with the separated shoulder. So they were down to the third-string quarterback, A.J. Philly. But A.J., to his credit, played well, throwing for 180 yards, no interceptions, did lose a fumble as the Eagles improved to 9-3. It was their third straight win, but more importantly, the defense in a game that they needed to step up in, stepped up, forcing 5 turnovers and 8 sacks on Kurt Warner. And then in 2015, play the song, the Sixers rejoiced. Sixers fans everywhere rejoiced as they beat the Lakers 103-91 for their first win of the season. Robert Covington had 23 points to lead all scorers. It also ended an NBA worst 28-game losing streak for the Sixers. That dated back to the season before. Lost their last 10 of the 14-15 season and lost their first 18 of the 2015-16 season. That eventually was tied by the 23-24 Detroit Pistons, but Sixers fans rejoice as the 28-game losing streak was over on this day in 2015. Robert Covington led the way, Rocco, with 23 points to lead all scorers. And then finally, go back to last year. Saquon Barkley had 107 rushing yards and a touchdown. Jalen ran for a touchdown and threw a touchdown as the Eagles beat the Ravens down in Baltimore 24-19. I figured I'd give us some happier times to kind of wash away the blues from Friday's Black Friday loss. Who knew that we'd be wearing black because it might be a funeral that we were attending. But that happened on this day last year. And then, of course, it is December leading up into the holiday season. I like to do this every year, and this is something that it's very easy for you to do. Doing something nice for someone, doing something kind, really helps change your mood, and it can help make somebody's day. So throughout the rest of until we get to the Christmas holiday, every day, well, I'll give you some random acts of kindness that are easy to do, don't cost a lot of money, and can really make your day as well as brighten someone else's. And today, it's very simple. You go into the office, give someone a compliment, or do something nice for your neighbor. Bring in their trash cans, rake their leaves, get their mail, check in on them, just something. But those 2 things are very easy to do. And if you can't get to them today, stockpile them and do these. But these things, it doesn't cost a thing, and it's very easy to give someone a compliment. And if you're doing something outside, help your neighbor out. Just ask them, hey, how you doing? What can I do for you? Very, very simple things to do. So those are today's random acts of kindness. Hopefully it will bring some joy to not only you, but others as well, as that is the spirit of this season. On this day last year, Eagles beat the Ravens 24-19. Saquon, 107 rushing yards and a touchdown. 2015, Sixers snap a league worst 28-game losing streak as they beat the Lakers 103-91. 2002, it was the defense as the Eagles beat the Rams 10-3 at the Vet. Bobby Taylor scoring the only touchdown on a pick six of Kurt Warner. Flyers beat the Kansas City Scouts 10-0 for their largest shutout victory at the time in team history. A few years later, they would beat the Penguins 11-0, which I believe is still the record. And then in 1967, Wilt scored 52, grabbed 37 boards as the Sixers beat the Supersonics up in Boston. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But don't forget the reverse advent calendar items of the day. Hot chocolate and juice boxes. Again, this is a great way to get your kids involved. And if you can't participate in the reverse advent calendar, go to my social media, scan the QR code, and donate whatever you can. I truly, truly appreciate it. We will have more on the Eagles as they gear up for a huge game out in LA on Monday night. But let me know your thoughts. I'm not a believer. Are you a believer? 267-495-8531. I think I've seen enough of this team to know it's just not our year. But let me know your thoughts. Should Kevin Petula go in the box? I don't know. At this point, does it hurt? This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for December 1st, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.